Across our county, not every SCBA and RIC pack speak the same language. In the event of a mayday, that communication gap could cost critical time and air to that downed firefighter. This training will highlight the similarities and differences among the different SCBA and RIC packs used by agencies throughout our county. Let's start by taking a look at Santa Maria's SCBA. This is a Scott X3. NFPA standards drive most of the requirements for our SCBAs and RIC packs. NFPA standard 1981 required the first universal air connection, or UAC, sometimes referred to as the UAC. It's down here required within 4 inches of the threads of the cylinder. This is the one universal feature among all agencies in the county. Every SCBA worn by every firefighter has a UAC connection located to the left of the air cylinder as you're looking at their back. This can be used for a transfill off of a RIC pack to transfill air from the RIC pack cylinder to their SCBA, balancing the air between both cylinders. Project Mayday data tells us this was used in approximately 21% of the Mayday incidents it studied. The X3 also has an emergency breathing support system, otherwise known as the buddy breather. This allows for a sharing of air supply between 2 SCBAs. The SCBA with the higher amount sharing with the SCBA of the lower amount should have at least 50% air in their bottle. This is designed to be coupled with another firefighter, sharing the air between the 2 systems to effect an emergency escape. Let's now take a look at the RIC pack from Santa Maria. Santa Maria's RIC packs are located on truck 1, engine 2, and engine 3. They're set up with a Scott mask, regulator and hose, the emergency breathing support system for buddy breathing, a air line off of the cylinder for the universal air connection, an analog gauge to indicate how much air is in the cylinder, and it's equipped with an air cylinder at 5,500 psi, the same psi as the SCBA. Accessory pouches carry webbing, create drag straps and harnesses, and tin snips for cutting wire, and chem lights for creating visibility for the passages. So we'll now take a look at the Guadalupe Fire Department's SCBA system. They're using the Scott X3 Pro. This is the CAL FIRE spec. It has the universal air connection located within 4 inches of the threads of the SCBA cylinder. It also has the universal emergency breathing support system. So these connections will be universal with the Santa Barbara County SCBA system for buddy breathing in the event of an emergency to share air. In the event of a downed firefighter from Guadalupe, has an analog gauge. If it's in alarm, once you arrive at the location of the firefighter, you can simply depress the yellow button on the side twice, and that will silence their alarm. Currently, Guadalupe Fire does not have a RIC pack, so the RIC packs will have to come from the agency responding in. They would use the RIC pack off of one of those engines for the personnel working inside to provide a RIC assignment. Let's now compare that to the MSA G1 carried by Santa Barbara County. This has the universal air connection located down here in the same location within 4 inches of the threads of the cylinder. This has a UEBSS, a universal emergency breathing support system. This is universal only with other systems that are universal emergency breathing support systems. However, it is not compatible with the original version that are emergency breathing support systems. The two will not connect. So it's important to know when you arrive on scene, if you are the RIC team supporting an operation with another agency such as Santa Maria, of what equipment is compatible. The RIC pack, MSAG1 mask, pre-connected, can be disconnected for just the hose and the regulator, or left in place, and it has the UEBSS, Universal Emergency Breathing Support System, pre-connected if you need to do a body breathing transfill. Down in the pack, it does have a UAC. It also has, if that needs to be filled, or if you're transfilling to a downed firefighter on their SCBA, it does have the UAC connection. That will go directly to the SCBA. Again, the transfill is to take the air in the higher volume cylinder to the lower cylinder until they're both equalized. It will not top it off. It just takes them both to the same point. The intent is to disconnect that and then continue with the rescue. It can be used again if it needs to be topped off before the rescue is complete. Other equipment that will be found in the RIC pack are webbing for making drag straps and harnesses. And in this case, it has chem lights for illuminating the path of travel and wire cutters. The best solution, if you're going into a rescue where firefighters from another agencies are working interior, is to bring your own pack. Statistically speaking, we know that firefighters from the RIC team also end up with a mayday or emergency issue while performing a rescue. So you have the equipment for them, but to also locate the RIC pack on the agencies responding to the incident that you're also responding to on a RIC deployment. So we need to identify, find that engineer, ask them where their RIC pack is, and you can identify what RIC pack. So you may bring in 2 RIC packs when working in an incident where you have auto aid and mutual aid. Remember to train and prepare with your mutual aid partners and practice working with this equipment.